60-odd years ago, the sea was prone to dominate ships by calm or savagery. She can do that, and perhaps always will do that, in her extreme mood. Let me now speak of one of those moods, as they beset a sailing ship long since. All through the windless night the clipper rolled, in a great swell with oily gradual heaves, which rolled her down until her time bells tolled, clang, and the weltering water moaned like beeves. The thundering rattle of slatting shook the sheaves, startles of water made the swing ports gush. The sea was moaning and sighing and saying hush. It was all dark and starless, peering down into the water, trying to pierce the gloom. One saw a dim, smooth, oily glitter of brown, heaving and dying away and leaving room for yet another. Like the march of doom came those great powers of marching silences. Then fog came down, dead cold, and hid the seas. Denser it grew until the ship was lost. The elemental hid her. She was merged in mufflings of dark death, like a man's ghost, new to the change of death, yet thither urged. Then from the hidden waters something surged, mournful, despairing, great, greater than speech, a noise like one slow wave on a still beach. Mournful, and then again mournful, and still out of the night that mighty voice arose. The Dauber at his fog-horn felt the thrill. Who rode that desolate sea? What forms were those? Mournful, from things defeated in the throes of memory of some conquered hunting ground. Out of the night of death arose the sound. Whales, said the mate, they stayed there all night long, answering the horn. Out of the night they spoke, defeated creatures who had suffered wrong, but were still noble underneath the stroke. They filled the darkness when the Dauber woke. The men came peering to the rail to hear. The sea sighed, and the fog rose up sheer. So the night passed, but then no morning broke. Only a something showed that night was dead. A sea-bird cackling like a devil spoke, and the fog drew away and hung like lead. Like mighty cliffs it shaped, sullen and red. Like glowering gods at watch it did appear. Sometimes drew away, and then drew near. Like islands, and like chasms, and like hell, but always mighty and red, gloomy and ruddy, shutting the visible sea in like a well, slow heaving in vast ripples, blank and muddy. Where the sun should have risen, it streaked bloody. The day was stillborn, all the sea fowls scattering, splashed the still water, mewing, hovering, clattering. Then polar snow came down, little and light, till all the sky was hidden by the small, most multitudinous drift of dirty white, tumbling and wavering down and covering all. Covering the sky, the sea, the clipper tall, furring the ropes with white, casing the mast, coming on no known air, but blowing past. And all the air seemed full of gradual moan, as though in those cloud chasms the horns were blowing, a mort for gods cast out and overthrown, or for the eyeless sun plucked out and going. Slow the low gradual moan came in the snowing. The Dauber felt a prelude had begun. The snowstorm fluttered by. He saw the sun show and pass by, gleam from one towering prison into another, vaster and more grim, which in dull crags of darkness had arisen, to muffle too a final door on him. The gods upon the dull crags lowered dim, the pigeons chattered, quarrelling in the track. In the southwest, the dimness dulled to black. Then came the cry of, "Call all hands on deck!" The Dauber knew its meaning. It was come. Cape Horn that tramples beauty into wreck, and crumples steel, and smites a strong man dumb. Down clattered flying kites and staysails, some sang out in quick high calls, the fair lead skirled. And from the southwest came the end of the world. In these next stanzas, I wish to tell of the coming of a sailing ship into the roadstead of Valparaiso in Chile, after the loss of one of her men who had fallen from aloft and been killed. This man, whom I called Dauber, had shipped to sea as a ship's painter, hoping to earn enough money in a lump sum after a long voyage to take him through some art school. He wished to paint ships and the sea. Having suffered much and endured much, he changed the mockery of the crew to admiration. He was becoming a clever seaman when he died. In my mind, he is the symbol of the artist in all ages, who will endure anything that the world can do to him, rather than not follow the art to which his soul calls him. Fair came the falling wind. A seaman said the Dauber was a Jonah. Once again, the clipper held her course, showing red lead, scattering the sea tops into golden rain. The waves bowed down before her like blown grain. Onwards she thundered, on. Her voyage was short before the tears' bells rang her into port. Surely they rang her in, those beating bells, the new-come beauty stately from the sea, whitening the blue heave of the drowsy swells, treading the bubbles down, with 3 times 3 they cheered her moving beauty in, and she came to her birth, so noble, so superb, swayed like a queen, and answered to the curb. Then in the sunset's flash they went aloft, and unbent sails in that most lovely hour, when the light gentles and the wind is soft, and beauty in the heart breaks like a flower. Working aloft they saw the mountain tower, snow to the peak, they heard the launchman shout, and bright along the bay the lights came out. And then the night fell dark, and all night long the pointed mountain pointed at the stars, frozen, alert, austere. The eagle's song screamed from her desolate screes and splintered scars. On her intense crags where the air is sparse, the stars looked down, their many golden eyes watched her and burned out, and came to rise. Silent the finger of the summit stood, icy and pure thin air glittering with snows. Then the sun's cunning turned the peak to blood, and in the rest house the muleteers arose. And all day long, where only the eagle goes, stones loosened by the sun fall. The stones falling fill empty gorge on gorge with echoes calling.